So sis, would you like to tell the audience why we have a Sanada advisory up?
No. And it doesn't say my name up there.
Well, since Miss Thing can't control what come out of her mouth,
Whatever.
viewer aggression is advised. But I bet Kay can control
You
what
better
goes.
not fix your mouth to say what you was about to say. Let's get on with the show.
Welcome to a special edition of the Movie Pick, where we recommend movies from action, comedy, sci-fi to horror, even movies that are so bad, they're actually good.
And in this episode, we will be discussing movies that bomb in the movie theater. So with that being said,
let's get started.
Our first movie is John Carter.
John Carter is a 2012 American science fiction action-adventure film directed by Andrew Stanton, written by Stanton, Mark Andrews, and Michael Chabon, and based on A Princess of Mars, the first book in the Barsoom series of novels by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Produced by Jim Morris, Colin Wilson and Lindsay Collins, it stars Taylor Kitsch in the title role, Lynn Collins, Samantha Morton, Mark Strong, Ciarán Hinds, Dominic West, James Purefoy and Willem Dafoe. It chronicles the first interplanetary adventure of John Carter and his attempts to mediate civil unrest amongst the warring kingdoms of Barsoom. It was released in the United States by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures on March 9, 2012, marking the centennial of the titular character's first appearance. It was presented in Disney Digital 3D, RealD 3D and IMAX 3D formats. It received mixed reviews, with praise for its visuals, Giacchino's score, and the action sequences, but criticism of the characterization and plot. It failed at the North American box office, but set an opening day record in Russia. It grossed $284 million at the worldwide box office, resulting in a $200 million write-down for Disney, becoming one of the biggest box office bombs in history. With a total cost of $350 million, including an estimated production budget of $263 million, it is one of the most expensive films ever made. Due to its poor performance, Disney cancelled plans for Gods of Mars and Warlord of Mars, the rest of the trilogy Stanton had planned. Much of the film's failure has been attributed to its promotion, which has been called one of the worst marketing campaigns in movie history.
Tell them what this movie is, you'll be careful. Taylor Kitsch is
Taylor Kitsch is a Canadian actor and model. He is known for portraying Tim Riggins in the NBC television series Friday Night Lights. He has also worked in films such as X-Men Origins, Wolverine. But as Kay was trying to address, he was a movie killer with back-to-back movie bomb, with Battleship and John Carter. He was getting a bad reputation.
Plus, this movie itself didn't know what it wanted to be. You're taking parts from Superman. Is this Western or sci-fi? I keep mixing both of them up in the movie. Some of the plots didn't make no sense. This movie has some good parts in it, but as a whole, it was just not that good.
So basically, this movie was a mess. It had potential, but it was just overhyped.
Our next movie is The Lone Ranger.
Thanks sis, The Lone Ranger, based on a TV show that aired for 8 seasons, from 1949 to 1957, and starred Clayton Moore as the Lone Ranger and Jay Silverheels as Tonto. The 2013 movie version was directed by Gore Verbinski and written by Justin Hather, Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio. The film stars Johnny Depp as Tonto, the narrator of the events, and Armie Hammer as John Reed, the Lone Ranger. The story tells through Tonto's memories of the duo's earliest efforts to subdue local villainy and bring justice to the American Old West. This movie seemed like it had potential, so what actually happened? One of the major issues with the film, despite the producers citing the presence of an advisor from the Comanche Nation, Some debated the advisability of casting Depp as a Native American and whether the film would present a positive and accurate representation of the Comanche. As a result of the production setbacks, The Lone Ranger faced numerous release date changes. In June 2011, The Lone Ranger's release date was scheduled for December 21, 2012. Production was expected to begin in the fall of 2011, but this was delayed due to budget concerns from Disney, and the release date was subsequently pushed to May 31, 2013. By mid-2012, DreamWorks Pictures' Robopocalypse was facing its own production delays and could not meet its July 3, 2013 release date. Therefore, Disney had The Lone Ranger assume its place for the 4th of July holiday weekend. And the budget for this film didn't help after underperforming during its opening weekend. The film was characterized by numerous media sources as a box office bomb, with many observers comparing it unfavorably to John Carter, another big-budget Disney film that failed commercially the year before. The New York Times estimated that the film cost $375 million to produce and market, and would need to earn an estimated $650 million worldwide to break even. After accounting for revenue splits with theater owners, The Hollywood Reporter noted that the losses from the film could surpass $150 million, with Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures Vice President Dave Hollis calling these results very disappointing. To wrap things up, this movie was doomed to fail even before coming out. From delays to casting, the movie failed to live up to the original TV series.
Our next movie is God of Egypt.
Gods of Egypt is a 2016 fantasy action film directed by Alex Proyas based on a fantastical version of ancient Egyptian deities. It stars Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Brenton Thwaites, Chadwick Boseman, Elodie Young, Courtney Eaton, Rufus Sewell, Gerard Butler, and Jeffrey Rush. The film follows the Egyptian god Horus, who partners with a mortal Egyptian thief on a quest to rescue his love and to save the world from Set. Gods of Egypt is directed by Alex Proyas based on a screenplay by Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless. The film was produced under Summit Entertainment. Proyas was contracted by Summit in May 2012 to write the screenplay with Sazama and Sharpless and to direct the film. Proyas said he sought to make a big-budget film with an original premise to contrast franchise films. The director cited the following films as influences on Gods of Egypt: The Guns of Navarone, 1961, Lawrence of Arabia, 1962, The Man Who Would Be King, 1975, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981, and Sergio Leone's Western films. Lionsgate anticipated that Gods of Egypt would be the first film in a new franchise after it finished releasing the Hunger Games films.
That sounds good, but what was the problem with the movie?
The film drew criticism due to the fact that none of the main actors were of Egyptian descent. White actors, predominantly of Northwestern European descent, make up most of the principal cast of Gods of Egypt.
Son of a bitch.
When Lionsgate began marketing the film, the Associated Press said the distributor received backlash for ethnically inaccurate casting. Lionsgate and director Alex Proyas both issued apologies. The AP said, while some praised the preemptive mea culpa, others were more skeptical, concluding that it simply meant to shut down any further backlash. The casting practice of white actors as ancient Egyptian characters was first reported after filming started in March 2014, when Daily Life's Ruby Hamad highlighted the practice as Hollywood whitewashing. Lionsgate released a set of character posters in November 2015, and The Guardian reported that the casting received a backlash on Twitter over the predominantly white cast. Some suggested that the casting of black actor Chadwick Boseman, who plays the god Thoth, played into the magical Negro stereotype. The previous year, the biblical epic Exodus, Gods and Kings by director Ridley Scott received similar backlash for having a white cast.
Jackass!
Gods of Egypt grossed $31.2 million in the United States and Canada, and $119.6 million in other countries, for a worldwide total of $150.7 million against a production budget of $140 million. The Hollywood Reporter estimated the film lost the studio up to $90 million when factoring together all expenses and revenues. Brian Fonder of the Los Angeles Times said in the week before the film's release that the expected opening weekend gross meant that Lionsgate's plans to make Gods of Egypt the first film in a new franchise were unlikely. Fonder said the film would need to perform strongly in territories outside the United States and Canada for a sequel to be developed. Variety's Brent Lang reported that analysts said the film would need to open to $30 million or more in the United States to justify a sequel. From the video game-ish green screen to the Hollywood whitewashing casting, this movie was doomed to fail for its misrepresentation of Egyptian people and moviegoer intelligence. My final opinion from a man who lived in a world of dragons, ogres, monsters, and rival clans: this movie was a disgrace to all people of all diversity, and it should be a lesson of knowing your history before making a movie like this.
Our next movie, yes.
RIPD.
RIPD, also marketed as RIPD, Rest in Peace Department, is a 2013 American supernatural action comedy film starring Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. The film was directed by Robert Schwentger and written by Phil Hay and Matt Manfredi, based on the 1999 comic book RIPD by Peter M. Lenkoff. The film also stars Kevin Bacon, Mary Louise Parker, Stephanie Shostak, and Marissa Miller. In April 2006, following the success of Wedding Crashers, director David Dobkin was set to helm an in-development adaptation of the comic book RIPD for Universal, with Phil Hay and Matt Manfredi hired to write the screenplay. Filming was completed on January 28, 2012, and the film was originally set to be released on June 28, 2013 in the United States by Universal Pictures, but was pushed back to July 19, 2013. The film grossed only $12.7 million in its opening weekend and ended its theatrical run with $78.3 million worldwide, including a $33.6 million domestic total and $44.7 million in other territories. According to Deadline.com, the budget was more than the $130 million the studio claimed, and was $154 million even after $28.1 million in tax rebates. The film is considered a box office bomb. RIPD was panned by critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 12% based on 106 reviews, with an average rating of 3.70 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, "It has its moments, most of them courtesy of Jeff Bridges' routine two-tin performance as an undead Wild West sheriff. But RIPD is ultimately too dim-witted and formulaic to satisfy." On Metacritic, the film has a score of 25 out of 100 based on 27 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of C+ on an A+ to F scale. The New York Post gave the film a half-star out of 4, writing, "For a movie that so strenuously rips off Ghostbusters and Men in Black, RIPD manages to come up with fresh new ways of being absolutely terrible." This movie didn't help Ryan Reynolds' career, coming off another box office bomb of Green Lantern. It wasn't until Deadpool that got his career back on track. To wrap things up, there are way better movies out there to check out. This movie here is not one.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Our last and final movie is Battlefield Earth.
Thanks, Rush. Battlefield Earth is a 2000 American science fiction film based on the 1982 novel of the same name by Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard. It was directed by Roger Christian and stars John Travolta, Barry Pepper, and Forrest Whitaker. The film follows a rebellion against the alien Cyclos, who have ruled Earth for 1,000 years. Travolta, a Scientologist, began attempting to adapt Battlefield Earth in the mid-1990s. He was unable to obtain major studio funding because of concerns regarding the script and its connections to Scientology. In 1998, it was picked up by the independent production company Franchise Pictures, which specialized in rescuing stars' pet projects. Production began in 1999, largely funded by the German distribution company Entertainment AG. Travolta, as co-producer, also contributed millions of dollars. He envisioned Battlefield Earth as the first in a two-part adaptation of the book, as it only covers the first half of the novel's story. The film was set up as an independent production for Morgan Creek Productions, which would release the film through Warner Bros. Pictures in the United States and select international territories under an existing distribution agreement. Travolta's company JTP Films was also involved, and Travolta invested $5 million of his own money in the production. Warner Bros. Allocated $20 million for the film's marketing and distribution. Franchise Pictures, through Summit Entertainment, retained the foreign rights, licensing the European distribution rights to the German group Entertainment AG in exchange for 47% of the production costs, which was set at $75 million. The entertainment deal later became the focus of a legal action that bankrupted franchise. Samaha forecast that the film would be a hit. My projected numbers on Battlefield Earth are really conservative. I'm already covered internationally, and there's no way I'm going to lose if the movie does $35 million domestically. And Travolta has never had an action movie do under $35 million. The film's scathingly bad reviews and poor word of mouth led to a precipitous falling off in its grosses. Having earned $11,548,898 from 3,307 screens on its opening weekend, it ranked in second place at the box office below Gladiator. Its take collapsed by 67% to $3,924,921 the following weekend, giving an average take of $1,158 per screen. The film made almost 54% of its entire domestic gross in its first 3 days and flatlined thereafter, with earnings dropping a further 75% by the end of its third week to $1 million. The following week, facing earnings of just $205,745, Warner Bros. Attempted to cut its losses by slashing the number of screens at which the film was being shown. The number was reduced from 2,587 to 641. By its sixth weekend on release, the film was showing on 95 screens and had made $18,993 in a week, less than $200 per screen. To sum it all up, this movie was bullshit. I'm sorry, but I'm not holding my tongue on this. From the bad special effect to the over-the-top acting of John Travolta and ridiculous costume design, I see why this movie won 18 Razzie Awards. This movie made $29.7 million on a budget of $73 million, and this is what the fuck you put out. Fuck this movie. You made me watch this dumb shit. You owe me and I know how you paying me back.
Oh no! He dead!
Well, Kay, you kinda fucked up in this episode, you piss off Sonada, and she coming straight for you. My best advice is, drink a lot of—
You goddamn right he did. Your ass is mine. Until we do the video game show. And that's not for a while.
UK. Till next time.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share and subscribe
To the YouTube channel and the Facebook page.